Hello. So we're here with the Money Matters Café at Frome Town Hall. We're here every Thursday afternoon between 2 and 4. And today's conversation is all about debt, but manageable debt and unmanageable debt. The difference when you can see that you might be tipping over from one to the other, and sources of help. For both sorts of debt, really, but particularly for unmanageable debt, the earlier that you can seek help, the better the outcome is likely to be. So I'm here with Phil. Phil, do you want to say where you're based and where you're from?
I'm based at Holy Trinity Church, where we have the Frome Debt Centre, where we partner with Christians Against Poverty, so that anyone with unmanageable debt, we use their expertise. So if somebody has manageable debt, it means we can help them locally and help them resolve their problems and decide what is the best way forward. But if it's unmanageable, then we get all their information together and we send it up to Bradford in West Yorkshire, where they operate, and then they sort out what is going to be the best route out of debt. It can be probably 7 or 8 different ways, depending on how much debt you've got and the nature of the debt that you've got. So there'll be different ways of dealing with it. The 3 most common ways of dealing with it are either a debt relief order, if you're less than £30,000 in debt. If you've got more than that, then it will be a bankruptcy. Or it could be, if your income is sufficient, then it will be a debt repayment plan. So you repay your debt spread over, say, the next 5 years. But they come back with the option, and we decide whether you decide whether you want to proceed with it or not, and go ahead. So we then walk with you throughout the entire process. We partnered with CAP because they've been in operation for 25 years. And they're trusted by the banks and by the utility companies and all the other people that we can owe money to, because they.
And a really important thing is that it's a free service as well, isn't it?
It is a free service. Everything's free. So we pay. The church pays Christians Against Poverty. We pay their fee, so that to our clients is completely free. There's no charge at all.
Because that's one of the terrible things in our society, isn't it? That if someone is in debt and they seek help, they might reach out to someone who's then going to charge them a fee and make the problem even worse, which is terrible, isn't it?
There are organisations that will take £150 a month off you and pay £50 off your debt and keep £100. I mean, there can be costs. Things like debt relief order will cost £90. Bankruptcy will cost £680. In those circumstances, we can get that fee paid by somebody. There will be a charitable organisation who can help us pay some of it, if not all of it. So there are very few times when the client would have to pay. Some clients want to pay. They've got £90, and I say, "Can you pay?" And they'll say, "Well, yeah, I can."
Yeah. I've saved up.
I'm happy to do it, or my mum will give me some money or something. And that is good because they want to keep their pride.
Yes.
And that's a thing of pride. Because if and some of my clients say, "Oh yes, no, I can do that," and I just sense that it's going to struggle.
Yeah.
So I say, "Come on,
let
us help you."
Yeah.
And that money, like debt relief order, that money is given to me by members of our congregation.
Yeah.
They just give me the money.
And I think probably the most important message of today is that there's always a solution. There's always a way out.
That is it. There is always a solution, because debt is basically a number written on a piece of paper. It may be for you a massive problem, but somebody can deal with it. You can deal with it in, as I say, probably 7 or 8 different ways in which debt can be dealt with. And one of those will match your circumstances, and where you are and how much money is coming in and the size of the debt or the type of the debt. So there is always a solution. We have yet to come to a point where we say, we don't know what to do here, guys. So there's always, I mean, I've helped about 50 clients so far in the last couple of years, and every single one of them has had a solution.
Yeah. So let's talk about one step before that then. Let's talk about what the difference between manageable debt and then when it becomes unmanageable.
there's different ways of measuring, and different organisations have different ways of measuring what is manageable and what is unmanageable. And the most common way is if your debt exceeds your annual income, then it's unmanageable. So if you're earning 25 grand a year and you owe 30,000, then it's unmanageable. But in reality, it's not about numbers. The reality of it is if your debt is keeping you awake at night, it's unmanageable.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Never mind.
Well, there's such a strong link, isn't there, between money and mental health, and the problems that being in debt can physically weigh down on your shoulders, and even affect your physical health as well as your mental health. And you were sharing some statistics with me earlier, weren't you?
Well, that's right. I mean, 3 years ago, nationally, Christians Against Poverty said that 1 in 3 of their clients were they'd either attempted suicide or had seriously considered it. Today, it's half of our clients.
Yeah.
So that's gone from a third to a half. So that's half of our clients have actually considered or indeed attempted suicide. And from somebody who's, I mean, I was in debt for about 10 years back in the 1980s, and it absolutely sucks the joy out of life. It really does. And this is the same with my clients. And I say, I don't know how you feel, but that's how I feel. And they said, well, it's the same.
Yeah.
You can't enjoy your kids anymore because they come home from school and you're afraid that they've got a brown envelope asking you for money.
Yeah.
So and it only probably wants to be a little bit of money, but you're just dreading it.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to have lived through this problem and got out at the other side. So when you're advising people, you know what they're going through. It's too easy for someone who's outside of that problem, who's never had those problems, to sail through life and think you must have got yourself into this problem.
You're not in debt because you're feckless or you're stupid or you're irresponsible. There's none of those things. These things are all because of what's happened in your life's events. And relationship breakdown is one of the biggest causes of debt. No one expects their relationship to break down, but then it does, and you're stuck. And there's a big financial ramifications, especially if you've got children. And the impact, because the impact is on the children of everything, plus the debt, which you don't want them to be, but that's a fact of life. So to have gone through it and come out the other side is something I can then pass on to other people.
Yeah.
And you learn a few tricks on the way.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want to look at, because what I'm really keen is that although we've got Christians Against Poverty to deal with your unmanageable debt, my focus has to be on people who are coming into debt for the first time because of the cost of living crisis. People are coming into debt, they've never dealt with debt before. They don't know how to deal with it. Why would they? They've never had it.
Yeah.
So, there are some things to do. So suppose you got £100 spare and you had 3 bills come in your house, each for £50. What would you do?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd probably offer a bit to all 3.
You would, but most people would pay off 2 of the bills and put the other one in the drawer.
Yeah.
And forget it. And say, I'll try and pay that one off another day, or I'll catch that next month.
Yeah.
But the thing to do is to look at your bills and say, which one is going to cost me money if I don't pay it?
Yes.
So if there's interest to pay, or there's charges for late payment.
Yes.
Pay that one. And then the other 2, if there's no charges or no interest, then just pay half each.
Yes.
So that would be, so if you have one that was charging you, so if all 3 were charging you, then you just pay off as much as you could off each one.
Yes.
Because there's nothing more you can do. And the reason for that is because if you pay off 2 and you're glad to get, a lot of people say, I'll pay those 2 and then it's got rid of them. And then all I've got to worry about is this one. The problem is that you're not going to be able to pay it next time. And that creditor will think that you're ignoring them, or you don't want to pay it, and what you have to get across to a creditor is, I want to pay it, but I can't.
Yeah. So would you contact them, all 3 of them?
If you're not paying, if you're not paying the full amount, First thing you do is to pay off what you can.
Yeah.
And then after you've done it, then ring them and tell them what you've done.
Yeah.
Because if you say, say for example, you had a bill coming for £300 and you didn't have the money and you couldn't pay it, and you rang the company. Suppose it was a store card, say like an Argos card. You couldn't pay it. The credit controller, it's her job to get that money back in, say, 3 months. So she says, I want £100 a month. You say, well, I can't afford that. So we've got to do that. Because that is what she's been given to do.
Yes.
This is a girl there who's doing a job, and she's given those parameters. So what I would do is to pay the money and then ring them up and tell them what I've done. It's fait accompli, it's done.
Yes.
Because you're not going to get into any argument.
Yes.
Because you've done it. If they do say, no, you've got to pay this money, say, well, I can't. I understand you can't let me pay it off less. Can I speak to someone who can? Your boss or somebody else. And generally they will go away and they'll come back and say, oh, well, okay, yeah, we can do £50 a month.
Yes. Yeah.
So never take the answer, never take what they say as being the absolute truth.
But always be kind, because that person's in their job, and it is just a job to them.
Absolutely, they are going there so they can keep the roof over their head and put food on the table, and that's what they're doing. And if you find yourself getting stressed out, because these things are very stressful, just terminate. Just say, look, you seem like a nice person. I'm not going to be rude to you. I'm getting stressed. I'll ring you back another day.
Yes.
Because otherwise you find yourself flaring up at somebody who you don't even know. It might be someone who lives in the next street to you.
Yes.
And so always been polite and kind, because you then keep the upper hand.
If you are beginning to get stressed, is that the time to give you a call? Can you help people who aren't in dire straits yet, but are beginning to be stressed about it? Is that the time to contact you?
I will always help them and advise them, and if they want to come and make a phone call with me, but they have to speak to the creditors themselves.
Yes, but you can be sitting next to them.
If they want to do it sitting next to me, then I'm quite happy to do that, because they can then. And a lot of people do want a little bit of moral support and someone who can just stay in there with them. And we had a client like this a little while ago. We just went round to the house and we made 3 phone calls and it was dealt with. And
so you'll go to people's houses as well. That's great, Phil.
Yeah, it's all in person. We don't do anything over the phone. We always meet people in their homes, or if they don't want us to go to their home or they haven't got one, then they can meet us in the church office. So that's
in the church office or in the Bridge Cafe. Can you meet them in there?
I tend not to meet there because
you want a bit of privacy.
It's confidentiality, and people go there all the time, and I don't want them. They know that I do the debt job, and they say, "Oh, that person's come to see the debt bloke." So come to the church office. We just make an appointment and then come and see us, and we talk through it with them. So we even visit them while they come to us.
Yeah, so they can come see you. I know you're really busy. There are other places in Frome that they can come. There's the CAB that will help them.
Citizens Advice will help them, and I don't know what their location is at the moment, because they were hot desking at the moment. I'm not sure
I think they're here on a Monday. I think they'll come to the town hall on a Monday.
Then that's fine.
And there's also Step Change, isn't there? That's another free service.
That is a good one, and they do it all over the phone. There's no in-person stuff. But if you're self-employed, then Step Change are the people to go to, not to come to us.
Okay.
Because our package, they can come to me if it's manageable. If it's unmanageable, Christians Against Poverty don't have a specialist self-employed department.
Okay.
Where Step Change do.
Right.
So go to them if you're self-employed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's great. And I suppose also come and see us as well in Prosper Frome. So, if you've got any of these worries and you're beginning to think, hang on, this is stressing me. I know I can't meet all of my bills this month, and I don't know which ones to choose, then that would be a great time to come and see us in Prosper Frome. We're here on Thursday afternoons between 2 and 4, or give Phil a call. Phil, have you got a telephone number that people can contact you on?
I've got the CAP number,
yes.
Which is if anyone's got unmanageable debt, you just ring them straight away, and then as long as they are in the BA11 postcode area or in Colford, they then get put onto my my computer, and I then contact them. And that number is 0800 328 0006.
That's great. That's great.
And,
Thank you very much, Phil. Is there any other useful tips that you can think of that we need to give people today, or do you think you've said everything that you need to say?
Don't put that envelope in the drawer, because it's going to cost you money. I know people who've ignored a debt of £100 and they've ended up, after they've been taken to court, owing £300. They don't owe anybody £300, but it's been created because people have gone on this charge and that charge and interest and different fees, and they've now got a bill 3 times their original size. And if you take these steps, if you make payments, even if you can only afford to pay a £5 off, then pay it off, because it will keep you out of court. What happens is, if you've got a credit controller, they have 3 bands of clients. It's a traffic light system. You've got the green ones, they're the guys paying all the bills, great stuff. You've got the amber, where people are paying a bit late or not as much as they should, but the money is coming in and they'll leave you alone. If you're in the red zone, it's when you're not answering the phone calls, answering the emails, you're ignoring the letters, and they don't know why you're not paying. They haven't heard from you, and they'll come and get you, and they'll take you through the courts. And once you get a CCJ, a county court judgment, then that's on your record for 6 years, and you don't want to go there. No matter who you are, you don't want to go there. You don't want that against your name, because that will come up. You go to rent a property, you go into an estate agent, they'll do a credit reference check on you. You've got a county court judgment. You can't rent anywhere to live. So
it just makes the problem worse. So
it does.
I think the big message from today is, if you're even beginning to feel stressed about things, seek help. There's always a way out, and the earlier you seek help, the better.
And the other thing is with mortgages, if you've got a mortgage and you're struggling to pay it, please speak to your mortgage provider, because they are being charged now to find the solution. Because there will be a solution. You probably haven't thought about it, but they have got them. And if you admit to them that you've got a problem, they will help you.
Good. There's always a way out. Thank you very much.